Flames raced across the dry bridge as arrows hissed through the night. Aiyana stood alone in the center of the firelight, her soot-streaked hands gripping a burning branch. Behind her, terrified travelers crowded inside 3 wagons, their horses screaming and pulling. Ahead, a ring of bandits closed in, blades flashing like hungry teeth. "Move, and you die," their leader growled. Aiyana answered by hurling the branch. The burning wood struck a barrel of lamp oil. Fire exploded upward, swallowing the road in a roaring wall. The bandits stumbled back. 2 dropped their weapons. The others scattered into the darkness. For one breathless moment, victory seemed hers. Then hoofbeats thundered from the hills. Dozens more riders appeared, carrying black banners marked with a silver crown. They were not robbers. They were hunters, and they were searching for the same thing Aiyana had unknowingly protected. Far beyond the burning bridge, the Alpha King Takoda raced through the wilderness, wounded and betrayed. Someone within his own circle had revealed his path. Enemies now hunted the royal crown that symbolized his right to lead. Takoda did not yet know about the woman at the bridge. He did not know she had just saved strangers from death. He did not know her courage would soon alter the fate of his kingdom. But before dawn, their paths would collide beneath crimson skies, and a single command would astonish friend and foe alike. "Give her my carriage," the Alpha King would order, while the ashes still burned. The kingdom of Red Mesa stretched across towering cliffs, winding rivers, and endless grasslands painted gold by the rising sun. For generations, its people had prospered under protection of the Alpha Kings, leaders chosen not only by blood but by courage, wisdom, and service to the realm. Takoda had earned that title 3 years earlier. Tall and broad-shouldered, he carried himself with quiet confidence rather than pride. Warriors respected his strength. Elders trusted his judgment. Farmers admired his willingness to walk among them instead of hiding behind palace walls. Yet, Takoda possessed weaknesses as well. He trusted people too easily. He believed loyalty could overcome ambition. And lately, that belief had begun to crack. As dawn colored the horizon red, Takoda guided his horse through a narrow canyon accompanied by his younger brother, Chaitin, and his most trusted advisor, Elon. "You should return to the capital," Elon urged. "The crown must be secure behind the palace gates." Takoda shook his head. "The people need to see their king," he replied. "Fear spreads faster than truth." Chaitin smiled. "That is why they follow you." The compliment brought little comfort. For weeks, disturbing reports had arrived from every corner of Red Mesa. Supply caravans had vanished. Villages had been threatened by organized raiders. Rumors claimed someone intended to challenge Takoda's right to rule. Worse still, the sacred crown of Red Mesa had become a target. The crown was more than gold and jewels. It represented unity among the clans. Whoever controlled, it could persuade many that they possessed a legitimate claim to leadership. Someone wanted that power, and someone seemed to know Takoda's every move. Miles away, Aiyana sat beside a stream washing soot from her hands after the battle at the bridge. She was known throughout the frontier for helping travelers, mending wagons, and guiding lost families through dangerous territory. Her kindness was her greatest strength. Her stubbornness was her greatest flaw. When others fled trouble, Aiyana ran toward it. An elderly trader named Dason approached her camp. "You have made dangerous enemies," he warned. Aiyana glanced up. "By protecting innocent people?" Those riders were searching for something important. "What kind of thing?" Dason lowered his voice. "A crown." The words settled heavily between them. Meanwhile, within the capital city of Sun Ridge, another figure watched events unfold from the shadows. His name was Mato. Publicly, he served as one of Takoda's most respected councilors. Calm, intelligent, and charming, he had spent years earning the kingdom's trust. Secretly, he desired the throne. Mato believed strength came from control, not compassion. Every cheer for Takoda deepened his resentment. Every success of the Alpha King felt like a personal insult. Now his plans were finally moving into place. A messenger entered his chamber and bowed. "The hunters are following the king's trail." Mato smiled. "And the crown? They will find it soon." The councilor walked to a window overlooking the city. Below, families laughed in crowded markets, unaware of the danger approaching. "Excellent," Mato said softly. Far away, Takoda continued riding toward a future growing darker with every mile. He still believed his greatest challenge lay beyond his kingdom's borders. He had no idea the true threat already sat beside his throne. 3 days later, storm clouds rolled across the skies of Red Mesa, casting long shadows over the kingdom. What had begun as troubling rumors was becoming a crisis. Takoda arrived at the frontier settlement of Stone Creek, expecting answers. Instead, he found fear. Merchants packed their goods in silence. Families locked their doors before sunset. Guards watched every road with nervous eyes. The settlement chief greeted the Alpha King with a troubled expression. "Another caravan disappeared last night," she reported. "No survivors. No witnesses." Takoda exchanged a glance with Elon. The attacks were becoming bolder. "Did anyone see the raiders?" he asked. The chief hesitated. They carried black banners marked with silver crown, the same symbol seen by Aiyana. Takoda's jaw tightened. Whoever organized these attacks was no ordinary outlaw. Meanwhile, Aiyana continued traveling toward Sun Ridge after hearing more rumors about the stolen crown. She had intended to return home, but the mystery troubled her. Too many innocent people were suffering. Along a forest road, she encountered a frightened young boy hiding beside an overturned cart. His parents had fled after hearing riders approach. Without hesitation, Aiyana helped him search for them. Hours later, she reunited the family. The grateful mother offered money. Aiyana refused. "Keep it," she said. "You'll need it more than I do." The family left safely, but Aiyana noticed fresh hoof prints nearby. Dozens of them. The hunters were moving again. Back in Sun Ridge, Mato's influence continued growing. Each new attack weakened public confidence in Takoda's leadership. Council members demanded stronger action. Some even questioned whether the Alpha King could still protect the kingdom. Mato never openly criticized him. Instead, he planted doubt carefully. "A strong leader deserves our support," he would say. Then he would add, "But perhaps stronger measures are needed." The word spread like poison. Soon, people began repeating them throughout the capital. At Stone Creek, Takoda received even worse news. A royal supply depot had been destroyed. Food intended for several villages was gone. When he arrived at the scene, smoke still drifted from the ruins. Children stood beside worried parents, staring at empty storage buildings. Takoda felt their disappointment, like a weight on his shoulders. An elderly farmer approached him. "My king," the man said quietly, "we still believe in you." The words should have offered comfort. Instead, they sharpened his determination. He could not allow these people to suffer because of his enemies. That night, Takoda gathered Elon and Chayton around a campfire. "Someone is directing these attacks," he said. Elon nodded. "The timing is too precise." Chayton stared into the flames. "Then we find them," Takoda agreed. But even as they planned their next move, another setback was already unfolding. Far away, Mato met secretly with the leader of the hunters, a scarred man named Kale. The king grows suspicious, Kale warned. "Good," Mato replied. "Good. A worried enemy makes mistakes." Kale frowned. "And if he discovers your involvement?" Mato smiled coldly. "He won't." Then he revealed a final order, one so dangerous that even Kale hesitated. The hunters would stop targeting supplies. They would target the crown itself. And anyone standing between them and the symbol of the kingdom will become an obstacle to be removed. The attack came before sunrise. Takoda and his companions were traveling through a rugged valley when a horn blast shattered the silence. Horses reared. Arrows streaked from the cliffs above. "Ambush!" Chayton shouted. Warriors emerged from behind rocks and fallen trees, cutting off every escape route. Black banners snapped in the wind. The hunters had found them. Takoda drew his sword and pushed his horse forward. Around him, loyal guards formed a defensive circle. The clash was brief but fierce. Steel rang against steel. Dust filled the air. Several attackers fell, yet more kept coming. Something felt wrong. The enemy seemed to know exactly where the king would be, exactly where he would stop, exactly how he would respond. At last the hunters withdrew, disappearing into the hills as suddenly as they had appeared. The victory felt hollow. When the fighting ended, Takoda counted his people. 2 guards were injured, 1 wagon was destroyed, and the sacred crown was gone. Silence settled over the valley. "No," Chayton whispered. The chest that carried the crown lay open beside the road. Empty. Takoda stared at it in disbelief. The symbol that united Red Mesa had vanished. His enemies now possessed the one object capable of turning uncertainty into rebellion. For the first time since becoming Alpha King, fear touched his heart. Not fear for himself, fear for his people. Back in Sunridge, Mato received the news before sunset. The messenger barely finished speaking before the councilor smiled. Years of planning were finally bearing fruit. "The crown is ours," the messenger said. Mato nodded. "And the king?" "He survived." The answer irritated him. Still, he remained patient. A crown without a king was dangerous. A crown with a disgraced king was far more useful. Meanwhile, Takoda returned to the capital carrying the burden of failure. Citizens lined the streets as he entered the city. Some looked worried, some looked confused, others simply looked away. Each expression struck him harder than any blade. Inside the palace, council members demanded explanations. "How could this happen?" one asked. "The kingdom is losing confidence," said another. Takoda listened in silence. Then Mato rose from his seat. The chamber grew quiet. "No one questions your dedication." Mato began smoothly. "But perhaps we must consider whether your methods have placed the kingdom at risk." The words sounded reasonable. That made them dangerous. Several counselors nodded. Takoda studied Mato carefully. For a moment, he sensed something hidden beneath the man's calm expression, but the feeling vanished before he could grasp it. That evening, Chayton found his brother standing alone on a balcony overlooking the city. "You blame yourself," Chayton said. "I should. You were betrayed." Takoda looked toward the distant horizon. By whom? Neither man had an answer. Far beyond the capital, Aiyana finally uncovered a clue. While helping travelers repair a broken wagon, she overheard 2 frightened merchants discussing a secret meeting between hunters and a royal official. The description immediately caught her attention. A respected councilor, elegant clothing, a silver ring marked with a sun. The details matched Mato. Aiyana's stomach tightened. If the rumors were true, the danger facing Red Mesa was far greater than simple bandit attacks. She decided to travel directly to the capital. Someone had to warn the king. But before she could leave, riders surrounded the camp. Kale sat at their head. His scarred face carried no warmth. "You've been asking questions," he said. Aiyana stepped protectively in front of the merchants. "And you've been hiding answers." Kale's eyes narrowed. For a long moment, neither moved. Then he pointed toward her. "Bring her alive." As the riders advanced, Aiyana realized the conflict had become personal. The hunters no longer wanted the crown alone. Now they wanted silence, and she possessed information powerful enough to threaten everything Mato had built. Aiyana ran. The merchants scattered into the trees as Kale's riders charged through the camp. Smoke from overturned lanterns drifted between the wagons. Hooves pounded the earth behind her. She knew she could not outrun mounted hunters forever. Instead, she used a forest. Darting between thick pines, she crossed a narrow stream and climbed a rocky slope where horses struggled to follow. Twice, arrows struck nearby stone. Twice, she kept moving. At last, the riders fell behind. Breathing hard, Aiyana disappeared into the wilderness and continued toward Sun Ridge. She carried no proof against Mato, only courage, suspicion, and determination, yet she refused to turn back. Meanwhile, Takoda faced a different battle. The stolen crown had shaken the kingdom. Some villages remained loyal, but uncertainty spread. Rumors traveled faster than truth. For the first time, Takoda realized that leadership was not only about protecting people during strength. It was about guiding them through doubt, rather than hiding inside the palace. He left the capital again. Elon accompanied him. Many leaders would remain behind walls right now, Elon said. Takoda shook his head. If my people are afraid, they deserve to see me standing with them. The journey took them through farms, river settlements, and mountain communities. Everywhere they went, Takoda listened. He listened to worried parents. He listened to exhausted traders. He listened to elders who feared the clans would divide. Instead of making promises, he shared their burdens. Slowly, confidence began returning, not because the crown had been recovered, because the people remembered why they trusted him. One evening, while visiting a remote settlement beside Crystal Ridge Lake, Takoda met an unexpected ally. Her name was Naeli. She led a network of messengers who traveled across the kingdom carrying information between distant communities. Sharp-minded and fearless, she had spent weeks observing unusual movements near the borders. "I believe someone inside the capital is helping the hunters," she told Dakota. The suspicion matched his own growing concerns. "Can you prove it?" he asked. "Not yet." "Then we find the proof." For the first time in days, hope stirred inside him. The next morning, another surprise arrived. Aiyana reached Crystal Ridge Lake after days of relentless travel. Dust covered her clothes. Exhaustion weighed on her shoulders. Yet the moment she learned the Alpha King was nearby, she requested an audience. Hours later, she stood before Takoda. Neither knew the role the other would play in the kingdom's future. Aiyana told him everything. The bridge attack, the hunters, the rumors about Mato, the secret meetings. Takoda listened carefully. When she finished, silence filled the room. "Elon," he said quietly, "does this match what we've learned?" "It does." Aiyana expected disbelief. Instead, she saw something else. Determination. Takoda rose and walked toward the window overlooking the lake. For weeks, he had focused on recovering what was lost. The crown, his reputation, his advantage. Now he understood a deeper lesson. The true strength of an Alpha King was never the crown itself. It was the people willing to stand beside him when everything seemed broken. He turned toward Aiyana, Elon, and Naeli. For the first time since the theft, a plan began taking shape. And somewhere within the capital, Mato remained unaware that the pieces were finally moving against him. The trap was set beneath a sky heavy with storm clouds. Using information gathered by Naeli's messengers, Takoda discovered where Mato planned to present the stolen crown. The councilor intended to gather influential clan leaders at Eagle Summit, a stone plateau overlooking the kingdom, and declare that the Alpha King had failed. If enough leaders believed him, Red Mesa could fracture without a single battle. Takoda refused to let that happen. At dawn, he rode toward Eagle Summit with Elon, Chayton, Aiyana, and Naeli, and a growing force of loyal supporters. Farmers, traders, guards, and clan representatives traveled beside him, not because he commanded them, because they chose to follow. When they reached the plateau, Mato was already there. The stolen crown rested upon a carved stone pedestal. Around him stood armed hunters led by Kale. Dozens of clan leaders watched anxiously. Mato stepped forward with practiced confidence. "You arrived too late," he announced. "The kingdom needs certainty. The crown was lost under your leadership." Takoda dismounted calmly. The crown was stolen. Does the difference matter? The question echoed across the plateau. For a moment, uncertainty flickered through the crowd. Then Aiyana stepped forward. "It matters because he helped steal it." Every eye turned toward her. Mato's expression hardened. Aiyana recounted everything she had witnessed. Naeli followed with reports gathered across the kingdom. Elon revealed records exposing secret communications between Mato and the hunters. Whispers spread among the assembled leaders. Mato realized control was slipping away. "Lies," he snapped. But before he could continue, Kale spoke. The hunter leader looked toward the crowd, then toward Takoda. Years of greed and ambition had brought him to this moment, and for the first time, shame appeared in his eyes. "He speaks falsely," Kale admitted. Shock rippled across the plateau. "Mato hired us. Mato ordered the attacks. Mato wanted the crown." The confession struck like thunder. Mato stared at him in disbelief. "You fool." "No," Kale answered quietly. "I am tired of being one." The betrayal that Mato had used against others had finally turned against him. Furious, he drew a hidden blade and lunged toward the pedestal. If he could not control the crown, he would destroy it. Takoda moved instantly. The two men collided before the stone platform. Their struggle was fierce but brief. Takoda fought with discipline. Mato fought with desperation. The difference decided everything. With a final movement, Takoda disarmed him. The blade clattered across the stone. Silence followed. Mato dropped to his knees. The crowd no longer saw a respected councilor. They saw the architect of their suffering. Storm wind swept across the summit as guards stepped forward to take him into custody. The confrontation was over. Yet as Takoda lifted the recovered crown, the greatest victory was not reclaiming a symbol. It was seeing the people united once more. And while dark clouds gathered overhead, the first signs of a brighter future were already beginning to emerge. Rain fell gently as the people of Red Mesa descended from Eagle Summit. The storm that had threatened the kingdom for months was finally ending. News of Mato's betrayal spread quickly across the land. Villages that feared division breathed easier. Merchants reopened trade routes. Farmers returned to their fields with renewed confidence. Most importantly, the clans remained united. Days later, a grand gathering filled the capital city of Sun Ridge. Colorful banners fluttered above crowded streets. Music echoed through the markets. Families traveled from distant corners of the kingdom to celebrate peace restored. For the first time in many months, laughter carried farther than fear. Takoda stood upon the ceremonial platform overlooking the city square. The recovered crown rested on a table beside him. As thousands gathered below, he studied the faces before him. They were the true strength of Red Mesa. Not the crown, not the throne, the people. When the crowd finally grew quiet, Takoda began to speak. This kingdom endured hardship. His voice carried across the square. We faced deception, fear, and betrayal. Yet we stand together because courage proved stronger than ambition. Cheers erupted from every direction. Takoda raised a hand. We did not overcome these challenges through one person alone. We prevailed because good people chose loyalty over selfishness. The crowd applauded again. Then he called several names. Elon stepped forward first. The advisor who had remained faithful through every setback received public recognition for his wisdom and service. Next came Naeli. Her network of messengers had helped expose a conspiracy threatening the kingdom. The people greeted her with enthusiastic applause. Then Takoda spoke another name. Aiyana. A surprised murmur swept through the crowd. Aiyana approached the platform slowly. She had never sought attention. She had only tried to help others. Takoda smiled. When strangers were threatened, she stood her ground. When danger grew, she pursued the truth. When many remained silent, she chose courage. The crowd answered with thunderous approval. Takoda turned toward his attendants. "Give her my carriage." Gasps echoed through the square. The royal carriage was one of the kingdom's greatest honors, reserved for distinguished leaders and heroes. Aiyana blinked in astonishment. "My king, that is not necessary. It is—" Takoda's smile widened.